Hello viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth, and I am Pastor Forbes from the Gateway Abiding Word Ministries here in the Gambia. Well, we are now in the second epilogue of our discussion on national intentionality, and I promise you I am going to close it today. We started with 2 parts and now we are ending with 4. We talked last week about the importance of wrapping up everything that we are doing as people and as a nation, and that if excellence is going to be a qualitative characteristic in our lives, then we must be intentional. That excellent output, efficient output, top class output, everything that is classy and top-rated and worthy of celebration and emulation must be intentional. We must be deliberately determined, disciplined, and decided for things to happen well. And we said that we should take the Almighty God, our Creator, as our example. We saw that last week from Psalm number 8 verse 1 that God is excellent by his name. We saw in the book of Isaiah chapter 28 verse 29 that he is excellent in his working. We saw in the second gospel of the New Testament, Mark chapter 7 verse 37, that he does all things well. Ladies and gentlemen, if people say that about me, I will be so humbled and so thrilled and so grateful and definitely very happy that he does all things well. He's excellent in his approach. Everything about him is excellent. And you have to remember that we started 3 weeks ago with this queen that went to visit King Solomon and was totally blown away by what she saw, but most importantly, by the intentionality that brought out what she saw. And if she went the next day, it would have been the same thing. The third day, it would have been the same level of excellence. If she called the king and said, I'm coming at 1 in the morning, she would have found that same level of excellence and efficiency, because it stems from an intentional attitude towards everything that you do. And we said this must be how we take our personal lives, and collectively, this is how our nation must be. So we said best practice is epitomized in God. Excellent in name, excellent in working, excellently doing everything well. And we said there are 10 or 11 things we must watch out for this to happen. Last week we did 3. The first is that we must have a clear task and a clear vision ahead. There must not be blurriness about what we do. We are not too sure. People are in 6s and 7s guessing here, second guessing things, It's like when somebody has lost time to do something and there are many things to be done, they pick this thing and they do it a bit and they leave it and they see that one has not been done. They run there and they do it and they hold their head and, okay, let me do this. And they do many things but never get anything done well. And that's why we make this statement. Being busy is not the same as being effective. Because somebody is busy running up and down, there's a lot of activity going up and down, does not necessarily mean there is efficiency. So there must be a clear vision and a clear task. Then we said there must be a personal involvement and personal participation. One of the ways you want to get people involved in what you do and learn their strength is for them to see you, not just, as they say in English, not just talking the talk, but walking the talk. So the walk becomes louder than the talk. They see it being done, and not last minute, frenetic, frenzied way, because anything we do last minute, really the best of us doesn't come out. So there must be personal involvement, personal participation for the common good. At the onset and everywhere around our mind, we must be thinking win-win for the common good. For the common good. Because the truth about life, people, is that posterity judges. History tells the story. History commends us or condemns us. History praises us or shames us. Then we said the next thing is specific budgeting and the commitment of funds. And of course, the word in my mind here is how you prioritize. There are many things to be done, but they are not all at the same level of priority. There are some things that will only happen because some things have been done. So nobody builds a house starting with the roof. That would be some kind of a house. We start with the foundation, the setting out, the laying out. And once that is done and all the pegs are done, then work can start. So there's got to be not just specific budgeting and funds allocation, but prioritizing budget items. Ladies and gentlemen, for excellent output, for intentional, top-class output, we must have a sense of priority. What goes before what comes after what is it that if it's not there, every other thing will have to wait. And after that, the all-important one, the judicious disbursement of these funds. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there is a phrase called there's a word called viring, where people move this and move that and bring this one there, move budget lines. Sometimes from that point, you can tell that things are going to fail. It is a matter of time. It is a matter of time. But here we are committing ourselves to national intentionality. We want to imbibe and embrace the best practice of God, excellent in our name, excellent in our working or output, doing all things well. There must be the judicious disbursement of energies or funds or resources. Judicious, wise, proper. After that, you cannot do things well if you don't monitor and you don't evaluate. So in many ways, ladies and gentlemen, these things are not difficult. They are no-brainers. You've gone this far. You have the vision. It's clear. You know the task. You are involved. So you bring people's popular participation. And people see that you are not pocketing the money. Budgeting has been done. Funds have been committed to budget items. They have been prioritized. The funds have been disbursed. You have to monitor. Is it going on? What are the timelines? How is it going? Because sometimes, not always, and these are the exceptions, by the way, not the rule. Sometimes there is a need for adjustment. As you monitor and evaluate, there is a need for adjustment. This part maybe needs a bit more, or we are even grateful. Thank God this one has finished ahead of time so we can focus on the next one. It is all called monitoring and evaluating. How far have we gone? Is it going on track? Is it following the script? Is it following the blueprint? Is it going through with the bill of quantities, etc., etc.? These are steps in the journey to intentional output, that which made the Queen of Sheba become blown away in her heart, wondering whether a man, and probably, I think King Solomon was probably even younger than the queen, because Solomon came to the kingdom as a young man. If you know the Bible, he came to the kingdom to the throne as a young man. So can somebody this young be this smart? Of course, God had blessed him with wisdom, but the wisdom was being used properly. So you monitor and evaluate. Are we on track? Are we doing what we said we were going to do? Is this what we're going to do? Or are we beginning to cut here, cut there for personal greed? If not, we make necessary adjustments. And I love this one. This is something I teach to people. I think everybody in our church knows that one. And I say it everywhere I speak. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a visionary, if you are an ED, executive director, if you are an MD, managing director, if you are a CEO, chief executive officer, whatever term you go by, DG, director general, if you are the one giving oversight, the boss, the one sitting on the big chair with 2 offices and 3 telephones and a PA and a personal secretary and a boardroom by your office and all that, sometimes even a washroom. If you are the one, I hate to use the word boss, but let me use it. If you are the boss, the team leader, if you are the one everybody looks up to, listen to this phrase. I also learned this many years ago. About 16 years ago, no, 20 years ago, I learned this. About 2004. You say, Pastor Forbes, what it is? Here it comes. You do not get what you expect. You get what you inspect. You do not just leave things, especially critically important things that can make or break reputation, integrity, and perception and character. No. No MD, no boss, no leader, nobody should be too big. I noticed that recently, because of things that were happening, the chief of state was going out to look at how are things going. That is what is expected. And it must not be tokenism. I must not just do things last minute to show face. No. People have been known as leaders to be, they call them surprise visits, spot checks. There have been even political leaders that would just drive a generic car number plate and appear somewhere and find that the MD was not at work, the secretary had their foot on the table, somebody was eating nyambe, and then, of course, heads begin to roll. You do not get what you expect. You get what you inspect. And as I said, people in Abiding One Ministries will tell you, if we are having guests, I go to the hotel myself, especially the main guests. I go to the hotel. I even touch the bed. Sometimes I jump on the bed to make sure it's not broken. Use the remote control to make sure the TV is working. Because sometimes you can go into places and there are no batteries in the remote control for the AC, for the TV. The kettle is not working, or the AC is making noise. The hot water is not working. And yes, there are things you leave to committees because you expect them to do well. And I'm not talking about micromanaging, because nobody loves to be micromanaged. But ladies and gentlemen, somebody said, a leadership guru by the name of John Maxwell, still alive, he said, everything rises and falls based on leadership. So if things are bad in Abiding Word Ministries, oh, Pastor Forbes is not good. Oh, Pastor Forbes. If things are good, some people may say Pastor Forbes. So if we want intentional outputs of excellence, top rate, top quality, efficient output as our ethos, as our character, that make people know that we are on top of our game. We are masters when it comes to executing anything we are supposed to do. At any level, from the home to the village, to the district, to the region, to the state, religious institutions, everybody included, schools. We must keep this mindset. You do not get what you expect. Oh, I gave it to Forbes. Forbes will do it. And then you call Forbes, his number is not ringing. He said he was charging his phone. Or somebody died, he went somewhere, he went to pray, or he went to collect the second cast of the attire. And cataclysmic embarrassment happens. We get what we inspect, not what we expect. Even if we have all the money to do any project, any program, any festival, any ceremony, any celebrations, we have to make sure we inspect it. This is May. Next month is June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So, for example, we are 9 months away from Gambia at 60. We became independent as a nation on the 18th of February 1965. We have 9 months from today that I am speaking. 270 days. If we choose to celebrate the Gambia at 60, if on the 18th of February that week, we are running up and down, last minute painting, last minute organizing, running here, last minute advertising, last minute decorations and buntings and flower pots and paintings and markings, then we would have done bad. And bad is what we will manifest. But if from now, and maybe before now, we start efficiently planning, I go back, we have a clear task and a vision ahead. 18 February 2025, Gambia at 60. Everybody gets involved. We just don't wait for last minute songs, last minute ashobi, and then we get people lined on the roads dancing. No. We start thinking from now. Because I'm sure we know, if we want international guests to come, they also have their programs. They also have their priorities. They also have their concerns. How safe are we? How secure are we? How prepared are we? How intentional are we? How efficient and excellent are we in communication? Because, ladies and gentlemen, anybody that is efficient, serious, you can tell. It's been said that you can always tell the studious students from others, the people who are reading their books from the first semester, the first term. And then there are those who cram the night before. And the outcomes are always predictable. So with a clear vision and the personal participation, the specific budgeting, the funds commitment, the prioritizing of the budget area, judicious disbursement, monitoring and evaluation, adjustments where necessary, you will get what you inspect, not what you expect. And nobody in leadership must be too big to inspect. We must all be able to get off our chairs and go down to where the rubber meets the road to be intentional. What that queen saw was not magic. What that queen saw was not an overnight make-believe, because in an overnight make-believe, people will make mistakes. That's one bad thing about cramming, and I teach that to all my public speaking trainees. You cram, you're going to have what we call network failure. You miss one word, and that is it. You start again, you go to that same place. You start again, you go to that same place, and people start clapping for you, which I think makes you even all the more confused. But if you have a strategic plan of memorization, of having your points, and you have had enough time to rehearse that it has become part of you, then no matter what happens, maybe just 2.5 seconds of stage fright or something, you will be good. So once you inspect what you want and not just leave it to what you expect, the next thing is that you keep updating stakeholders, you keep information flow by directional communication so everybody knows where we are and everybody is on board. And after that, you are ready to showcase a second to none, excellent, efficient, top class, well prepared, well rehearsed output with no fears. Nobody has to be running helter-skelter, key-fattenally. Why did this happen? And no. Everybody knows what to do. The Bible says when that woman saw, and permit me to read it for you as I begin to wind down. 1 Kings in the Old Testament, chapter 10, verse 4. And when the queen of Sheba had seen all the wisdom of King Solomon, the house he had built, the meat or the food in his table, the sitting of his servants, the attendance of his orderlies, their apparel, their costume, their uniform, their garment, their attire, their clothing, his cupbearers, the way in which he climbed the steps to the throne and the way in which he came down, the way in which he went into the temple, the house of God. It says there was no more spirit in her. And she said, it was a true report that I had heard in my own land of who you are and the level of your excellence, your efficiency, your wisdom, your intentionality. But I did not believe the words until I came, and my eyes have seen it. And behold, even half of what they told me was not everything. They did not even tell me up to 50%, because your wisdom and your prosperity exceed the fame that I had about you concerning God. Ladies and gentlemen, as I begin to bring this to a close, this cannot happen without deliberate, determined, disciplined intentionality. And for that to happen, there has to be a clear vision, a desire, and people need to see personal involvement from the top. Not just rhetoric, not just plenty talk on radio. People need to see involvement. And then we'll showcase excellence in all we do. And two more things as I close. When the Lord Jesus Christ fed about 15,000 people miraculously with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, he gave an instruction to his people, to the planning committee, to the secretariat, to the organizing committee, to the LOC. He told them, gather the fragments that are left, that nothing be lost. Why? Maybe for cleanliness, for decency, for organization, maybe for recycling, maybe for evaluation, for postmortem, for us to come back to the drawing board and see where we did not get it. Ladies and gentlemen, if we run through this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 intentional, successful output will define us. When they call your name, my name, our country, they say, oh, give it to them. These people are efficient. They're excellent. They do it so well. They're like the God they serve. He's excellent in his name. He's excellent in his working. He does all things well. They are also like him. They are excellent in the name Gambia. The name Gambia is synonymous with excellence. The name Gambia is synonymous with excellent working, and they do all things well. When you do that, you don't beg people to come to you. You don't cajole them to come to you. They want to come to you because they remember how excellent, efficient your output was. That queen, I believe, went back and called her team and said, guys, we got to up our game. I thought we were good. I've seen better than what we can do. Let's up our game. Let's top what we do. With these words, I want to end this 4-part series on national intentionality with every love I have in my heart for my country. We got to be intentional with what we do if we are going to be recognized and celebrated. Until I come your way next week, by the grace of God, with something new, may God keep us and may God bless us. Have a good day.